Episode 4 Chang and Eng, Bound by Flesh, Torn Apart by History, by Jared Larkham. You're listening to The Cavern, echoes of oddities, curiosities, and history, where true stories meet behind the curtain. Today, we step into a story that's both extraordinary and unsettling. The tale of two brothers born in Siam, joined at the chest, yet forever struggling to be seen as individuals. They were marvels, husbands, fathers. They were also slave owners. This is the story of Chang and Eng Bunker, the original Siamese twins. Chang and Eng were born in 1811 in a small fishing village in Siam, now known as Thailand. The mother was Chinese, the father likely Chinese as well, though little is known of him. What we do know is this: the boys were joined at the sternum by a thick band of cartilage with fused livers beneath. They could walk, run, even swim, and from an early age they were strong, both in mind and in spirit. In 1829, when they were just 17, they were discovered by a British merchant named Robert Hunter. Hunter saw them not as boys, but as profit. He arranged to take them to America and Europe under contract to be exhibited as living curiosities. They were displayed in parlours and lecture halls, not freak shows, not yet, but scientific oddities. Doctors examined them, philosophers speculated, audience gasped, the world startled. The brothers toured Europe and America for years. They were intelligent, quick-witted, and learned to speak English fluently. Eventually they took control of their own careers, broke ties with exploitative managers, and chose to continue performing on their own terms. They met P.T. Barnum briefly, though Barnum was more of a rival than a partner at first. Still, the fame helped pave the way for Barnum's later human curiosities. The twins even inspired entire industries of rumour, ridicule, and fascination. They were called monsters, but they were men. Eventually tired of travel and performance, Chang and Eng settled down in the American South in North Carolina. They bought land, became US citizens, and married. Yes, each married a local woman, sisters in fact, Adelaide and Sarah Yates. They built 2 homes and alternated weeks living in each. They fathered 21 children between them, 10 by Eng, 11 by Chang. This part of their story often surprises people. Domestic life, family dinners, laughter, arguments too, especially between the wives. They weren't just oddities anymore. They were ordinary, but not quite. This part of their story so many choose to forget, but we won't. Chang and Eng Bunker were slave owners. They purchased several enslaved African Americans to work their land, likely between 18 and 30 during their time as farmers. It's an unsettling truth. 2 men who had been treated as objects brought people. 2 men who had suffered under contracts, signed paperwork to own other human beings. Some of the former slaves would later describe life under the bunkers as difficult and dehumanizing, as all slavery was. There's no record of remorse, no indication that they saw the contradiction in their actions. But history is not here to comfort us. It is here to show us who we really are, or were. In many ways, Chang and Eng embellished the American paradox: freedom for some, built on the bondage of others. As they aged, life grew harder. Chang drank heavily. He suffered a stroke. Eng remained mentally sharp, but the physical burden grew. They were quite literally dragging each other through the end. In 1874, Eng woke up to Chang's lifeless body. He refused any help, and within hours died next to him. An autopsy revealed their organs were more connected than doctors had believed. But more than that, It suggested what some still whisper today. Eng didn't die of biology, he died of a heartbreak. Eng once said to a curious visitor, "We are two, yet we are one. You must look at us and think twice." The story of Chang and Eng Bunker is more than just conjoined twins in a circus tent. It is a story of survival, of contradiction, of humanity at its most complex. They were not heroes, they were not villains, they were men, deeply flawed, deeply human, trying to make sense of a world that first used them, then let them use others. When we look at their portraits today, we don't just see two faces joined by skin. We see the story of a nation, one that was, and still is, trying to recoil its light and its shadow. Thank you for visiting the Cavern. Until next time, mind the shadows, they have hearts too. Next week on the Cavern, step into a world of General Tom Thumb, the world's most famous little person. How Child became a global sensation, and how Barnum built an empire on one tiny pair of shoes at a time.